The ship hung in silence behind the shadow of a broken moon. It looked like a scar on the night. Hull plating peeled open in places, showing raw metal and burnt seams. Inside, the air smelled of rust, fuel, and sweat. Men and women moved through narrow corridors, every sound sharp against steel. Captain Elias Brooks stood alone on the command deck of the Vanguard. The war map flickered before him, a blue sphere of light showing rebel positions. He stared at it without blinking. The bridge crew watched him, hands on their consoles, waiting for a word. "Status," he said. His voice was rough, loud enough to cut through the hum of the engines. "Reactor stable, sir," said Lieutenant Noah Pike. He was young, with tired eyes and grease on his sleeves. "Weapon systems charged. Hull integrity at 63%. Brooks nodded. His face stayed calm, but his fists were tight. He had lost 2 ships yesterday. He could still hear the radio calls. He could still hear the panic. The Directorate wanted control of the colonies. The rebels wanted freedom. In the end, all that mattered was how many lived long enough to call it victory. The tactical hala shifted. A small red mark appeared on the edge of the grid. A rebel outpost. Heavy defenses. Too heavy for his half-ruined fleet. He leaned closer. "We'll strike hard and fast. Concentrate fire on the lead platform. If they intercept, we shift aim to their grid lines." "Yes, sir," Pike said. Brooks looked at his crew one last time. No speeches. "You know what has to be done?" The bridge lights turned crimson. The engines roared. The Vanguard moved out of the moon's shadow like a predator breaking from cover. Smaller ships followed. In front of them, the rebel outpost came alive. Guns lit up like a burning city against the stars. Missiles streaked out. Flak burst ahead of the Vanguard's bow. Vibrations ran through the deck plates. The crew strapped in, eyes fixed on their screens. "Impact on escort carrier 2, Pike said, his voice sharp. "She's hit bad." Brooks didn't answer. His eyes stayed locked on the view ahead. He knew this outpost had once been Directorate property. They had built it with their own technology.
Ow.
Now the rebels had turned it against them. The plating looked new, mere black with white heat lines running across its surface. Tough armor, hard to crack. "Rail battery 1 through 6, Brooks said. "Full charge." Pike's fingers ran across the control pad. "Batteries charging." The deck shook as the massive rails powered up. Blue light crawled across the gun housings. Sparks jumped from the conduits. The air thrummed with energy. Then the main com screen flickered. Static filled the bridge. A voice came through, calm, clear, familiar. "Vanguard, this is Anthem." Brooks froze. The name hit like a blade to the gut. He turned toward the com station. "Repeat transmission," he said quietly. The voice grew sharper under the static. "Turn back, Elias. You're being fed to die for a broadcast. We both know what the Directorate is." It was her. Dana Holt. The crew looked around. Everyone knew her name. She had been the captain's second once. His closest officer. His friend. Brooks stared at the sound feed. His chest felt heavy. He wanted to answer, but nothing came. He reached to cut the channel. Then another message came through, hers again, softer this time. "You taught me how to fight. I'm only using what you gave me." Static swallowed her voice. Across the viewport, distant lights moved, rebel ships leaving the outpost, spreading into attack formation. Brooks closed his hand into a fist. "Engage full burn," he said. All batteries hot. The Vanguard's engines roared. The deck trembled. From the far side of the battlefield, something bright launched toward them, larger than a missile, faster than any signal intercept could track. "Sir," Pike said, eyes wide at his display. "That's new tech. It's not in any archive." Brooks stared at the incoming object, featureless and silent against the stars. For the first time in years, he felt something like fear. Brace for impact. The object slammed into the formation before anyone could react. A white flash tore across the void. Every screen on the Vanguard went black for 2 seconds, then came back filled with static and warning beacons. The shockwave hit next. The ship rolled hard, lights dying, alarms wailing. The crew fought to stay in their seats. Oxygen masks dropped from the ceiling as the bridge filled with smoke. Sparks rained from overhead panels. The ship's hull groaned like something alive. "Damage report," Brooks shouted. gripped the rail beside his chair as gravity flickered. "Rear hull breach on decks 9 through 12, Pike said. "Systems unstable. Reactors still online. Put all power into shields and cooling," Brooks ordered. Outside, the rebel ships moved in fast, sleek, dark hulls, sharp against the glow of burning debris. Rail fire streaked toward the Directorate fleet, cutting into escorts and turning them into drifting wrecks. Pike's voice cracked. "We lost the Haven and the Solaris, sir." Brooks stared at the image. 2 destroyers gone. 2 more names that would fade into a list no one would read. He turned back to his crew. "We hit back. Rail batteries ready. Batteries charged," Pike said. "Targets locked." Brooks pointed at the largest rebel cruiser. "That one. Fire." The Vanguard shook as 6 railguns fired in a single pulse. 6 tungsten slugs screamed across space faster than sight. The rebel cruiser never had a chance. A line of white tore through its center. The ship split apart, venting air and fire. The bridge crew cheered under their breath, but Brooks didn't. He watched metal break apart and scatter. "Find the Anthem," he said. Pike searched the grid. "She's using the debris for cover, moving on our flank." Brooks already knew it. Holt was clever. She always planned 3 moves ahead. He was aiming for his engines. "Reposition," he said. "Face her head on." The Vanguard turned, damaged thrusters burning bright as it pushed into open space. The Anthem came out of the smoke, larger and cleaner, her guns ready. The 2 ships fired at once. Rail slugs and missiles crossed paths. Impacts hit both hulls. The Vanguard shook again. Loose piping ripped from the walls. Crew members yelled as consoles exploded. "Forward armor gone. Section 2 and 3, Pike shouted. Brooks clenched his jaw. "Keep firing." He felt the vibration in his bones as another volley hit. The Anthem slid past them and turned in a wide loop. Holt knew every range, every response time. She was still playing the game he had taught her. The Vanguard's power flickered again. Half the bridge lights died. Pike coughed through smoke. "She's aiming for our reactor, sir. You won't survive another volley." Brooks locked his eyes on the enemy ship. He saw its markings clearly now. A white emblem in the shape of a broken star. The rebellion's symbol. He could almost imagine Holt standing there on her bridge, calm, focused. Believing she was saving humanity from tyrants. "Signaled her," Brooks said quietly. Pike turned. "Sir." "Do it." The communication line opened. Static bled through. For a moment, no one spoke. Then came her voice. Sharper now. "You should not be out here, Elias. This fight ended long before you fired." His answer came low. "You left me in it." Silence filled the channel. Then her voice came back, almost a whisper. "You can still stop this?" Before he could respond, the sensors screamed. A new contact appeared on the edge of the grid. Massive. No Directorate signal. No rebel transponder. Pike's face went pale. "Sir, that's not civilian. It's not ours." Brooks moved closer to the screen. The shape grew, covering half the grid. No one spoke. Engines on both sides slowed as if everyone was watching the same thing, unsure if they believed what they saw. A low voice came from the tactical officer. "It's carrying Directorate colors, but that's not any class we know." Brooks stared at the dark silhouette breaking through the wreckage. "That ship wasn't built for command," he said. "It was built for extermination." The strange vessel began to open its side bays, one after another, revealing lines of warming cannons. Brooks turned to Pike. His voice was calm again. "Get every survivor ready. The real fight's starting now." The new ship filled the field of vision like a wall. Its hull was smooth and black, shaped for speed, covered in heavy plating that glowed where the engines pushed heat into space. Every coil gun and turret on the Vanguard turned toward it, but no one fired. The crew stared in silence. It carried the Directorate banner, yet no one had ever seen anything like it. Pike scanned its data readouts. Identification returns nothing. It's running Directorate codes, but the encryption is different, higher grade. Brooks clenched his jaw. "Put it on wideband, come. Let's hear what it wants." The screen came to life. Admiral Mercer Kane looked back at them from a sterile command bay. Cold light shining off his uniform. Looked calm, almost detached. "Captain Brooks," Kane said, "withdraw your ship. We are initiating clearance protocol." Brooks's knuckles tightened on the console. Clearance protocol means mass fire on an active field. You'll kill both fleets. Kane didn't blink.
Actual collateral damage will prove tactical strength?
The colonies will see that rebellion is futile. Pike whispered under his breath. He's going to slaughter everyone. Kane continued speaking, his tone like iron. Maintain your current position, so the broadcast drones capture your vessel leading the counterattack. History will remember you as loyal. Then the feed cut. For a second, the bridge was silent, except for the hum of dying systems. Brooks turned away from the blank screen. He plans to detonate the orbitals. We're in his kill zone. Pike stared back. What do we do, sir? Brooks looked out the viewport. The new ship's bay doors were opening, revealing rows of heavy missile pods. At its core, a bright pulse built up the weapon that would erase both sides. He turned to his crew. We're not letting him fire that weapon, someone in gunnery stammered. Sir, that's suicide. Then we make it worth the cost, Brooks said. His voice was hoarse, his face hard. He betrayed every person who ever fought under that flag. He keyed to come again, this time to a different frequency. Dana Holt, you still alive over there? There was static at first, then her voice, cautious, low, barely. We pulled away from the blast zone. What did your command just send in? A weapon ship. Kane is planning to burn both sides. A pause. Then her voice grew stronger. You're serious, completely. She breathed out. What's your plan? Brooks looked over his bridge. Smoke hung in the air. Officers waited, faces pale, hands gripping rails. You and I take it down, together? No one else will make it in range. For a moment, neither spoke. Then she said, understood. The line went dead. Pike looked over. You trust her? Brooks paused. I trust that she hates Kane as much as I do. He raised his hand. Helm, bring us about. Course toward that weapons core. Full burn. Engines howled. The Vanguard moved forward, shaking under the strain. Across the wreckage field, the Anthem followed, matching the angle perfectly. Two broken ships, old enemies, aiming at the same target. Kane's voice returned through the static. Captain Brooks, stand down, or be recorded as hostile. Brooks didn't answer. The rebel ship joined the formation beside him, battered and blackened, but steady. Alarms rang again. The enemy ship's weapon bay now glowed white-hot. Time was running out. Brooks gave one last order. All batteries front focus. Rail fire on central beam node. We hit it till it cracks. The Vanguard and the Anthem fired together. The sound roared through the hull. Tungsten slugs slammed into armor that was supposed to be invincible. Sparks and molten light burst out from the dark giant. Direct hit, Pike shouted. Minor breach, but the power grid is still active. Brooks leaned forward, eyes fixed on the growing wound in the ship's side. Then something unexpected happened. From the enemy ship's signal array, a new transmission pinged them, a voice broken with static yet human. This is Directorate Ship Dominion, it said. They've locked us out of control systems. Can't stop the weapon. Please, somebody help us. The voice faded. For a second, no one spoke. Then Brooks whispered, he's killing his own crew. Outside, the Dominion's weapon core flashed brighter, unstable, and burning. The light spread like a rising sun. Pike turned toward him, eyes wide. Sir, if that core detonates here, it'll take the entire system with it. Brooks looked at the swelling light, sweat running down his temple. Then we start running out of time. The Dominion's reactor glared in the dark like a burning eye. Radiation warnings rolled across every display on the Vanguard. The crew held their stations, voices strained, trying to stay steady as the heat spiked. Brooks stood at the center of the bridge. Target their reactor shields. All guns focus fire. Sir, that close? We'll take the blast, Pike said. We'll be gone whether we fire or not, Brooks answered. Fire every round we have, the Vanguard roared. Rail slugs tore into the Dominion's hull, punching holes through thick armor. Thanks to them. The Anthem matched each shot, its guns streaking white across the battle. Both ships burned through ammunition faster than the loaders could feed it. The Dominion returned fire. Bolts of plasma ripped across the field, one hit the Vanguard head-on, folding part of the forward hull like tin. Flames rolled through the lower decks. The ship's alarms never stopped. Pike barely stayed upright as another blast hit. We lost steering thrusters. Use manual reroute, Brooks shouted. Whatever keeps us aim straight. Through the smoke, he saw other Directorate ships turning away, running from the lights swelling inside the Dominion. Kane's voice cut into the Vanguard's comes again. You don't understand, Brooks. This blast will end the rebellion forever. Sacrifice is necessary. Brooks glared at the image, sweat running down his neck. You're not ending a rebellion. You're ending humanity. He slammed his hand on the console and cut the feed. Pike, vent fuel reserves into the thrusters and lock the guns on my mark. The bridge shook. The reactor noise grew louder, a low rumble rolling through the hull. Holt's voice came through on a private line. Elias, my drive's failing. I can't get within range. You stay out, he said. If the charge goes, at least your crew gets clear. No, she said fast. We finished this together. He didn't answer. He pushed through the smoke to the forward station. The deck plates were hot under his boots. A damaged support beam had cracked open a wall panel, sparks scattering across the floor like a shower of stars. Ready to fire? Pike said. Then fire. The Vanguard's main battery released one last violent pulse. The slug hit the Dominion's midline. For a second, it looked like nothing had changed. Then the reactor shields collapsed. A chain of explosions flared across the massive ship. Armor panels tore free, spinning away into space. The light filled the viewports until everything went white. Reactor breach confirmed, Pike shouted. She's going critical. Brooks stayed still, voice calm. Hold course, sir. That's too close. He didn't move. Hold it. The Anthem, broken and smoking, turned sideways to cover them. Holt's voice came again, steady, despite the distortion. I'll block the blast as long as I can. Brooks frowned. Dana, don't do that. Too late for orders, Captain? Her ship drew level beside his. Both vessels faced the Dominion together as lines of burning energy streaked across their hulls. Then the Dominion's core went. The light hit both ships like a giant's hand. The Vanguard tumbled backward. Systems died one by one. Fire washed through open corridors. Gravity failed. Officers slammed into walls and ceilings. Brooks hit the floor hard, but forced himself up. Report, he called out. No reply, only static and the echo of tearing metal. He looked to the main window. The Dominion was no longer a ship. It was a sphere of flame eating itself, collapsing inward before bursting out again. From the explosion's edge came something unexpected. A smaller vessel broke free, carrying the Directorate flag, its engines burning blue. It had survived the blast. Pike's voice returned. Horse, sir, one craft escaped. It's transmitting a live feed to the colonies. Kane made it off. Brooks stared at the glowing signature fading into the distance. Wait. Then the bridge lights went dark. The Vanguard drifted, burning and quiet, while a distant transmission echoed through the coms. This is Admiral Kane. Victory is ours. The sound cut off, leaving only silence and the low crackle of dying systems. Brooks looked around at the ruins of his bridge. Pike turned toward him, whispering through the smoke. Sir, what now? Brooks looked out at the shattered horizon where the Dominion had been. Now, he said slowly, we show the worlds what victory really costs. The floor gave a deep groan, and the ship started to fall toward the planet's upper atmosphere, its engines lifeless. The Vanguard fell toward the planet's atmosphere, its hull glowing red under friction. Fire streaked across the windows. Inside, the ship felt like a furnace. Panels cracked. Air systems coughed smoke. The crew moved through half-dark corridors, grabbing handrails as gravity shifted in bursts. Brooks held onto a console while alarms screamed. Pike, report, engines dead. We're in descent. Hull temperature rising, Pike answered. His voice wavered, raw from smoke. Get me any control left on the stabilizers, Brooks said. Already burning out, sir? Brooks looked across the deck. Everything shook. Sparks poured from a ripped wire bundle near navigation. A woman from Combs tried to put it out with a foam suppressant, but pressure loss pulled her off her feet. Seal that breach, Brooks yelled. Two crewmen dragged a patch plate over the leak and welded it down, but the air inside already felt thin. Outside the viewport, the upper atmosphere boiled with flame. Below that, streaks of city fires glowed through clouds. The planet had already suffered bombardment. It wasn't home to many left alive. Where's the Anthem? Brooks asked. Pike scanned his shaking monitor, shook the blast harder. Her drive's gone, sir. She's falling too. Brooks nodded once. Try to reach her. The com sparked alive with static and Holt's voice barely cutting through. Vanguard, this is Anthem. Most systems lost. We'll break apart on entry. Brooks pressed the mic close to his mouth. Keep your angle shallow. Ride the debris. Don't fight it. Copy. Her voice caught, then steadied. Tell your people I'm sorry. The signal died. The ship shook harder. The viewport flashed orange and white. Gravity came back all at once, slamming everyone down. The floor buckled in places. Pike pushed himself upright. Sir, surface impact in 90 seconds. Brooks stared at the chaos outside. No one dies blind, he said quietly. Patch main cameras to external feed. The blackened world below filled the main screen. It looked empty, a wasteland of metal planes and shattered towers. He turned back to his crew, escape pods. Now, sir, there aren't enough working hatches. Get who you can out. Move. Pike hesitated, eyes flicking to the captain. You're staying. Brooks forced a thin smile. Keep arguing and I'll throw you into a pod myself. The crew began to move fast, alarms mixed with the sound of steel tearing. Brooks stayed at the controls, trying to angle the ship's descent to a less brutal path. The Vanguard screamed through clouds, shedding metal in burning strips. In the distance, another falling shape broke apart the Anthem. A flash hit the sky where she had been, and nothing but rolling fire. Brooks looked away. The deck lights dimmed completely. He felt the heat under his feet, and the shudder of the hull cracking. Pike reappeared at his side, pods away. 17 made it clear. Brooks nodded once. Should have gone with them, not leaving you, sir. Brooks looked at him, saw the panic hiding under his attempt at calm and reached out, gripping his shoulder. Then help me land this wreck. The planet rushed closer. The blast shields lowered automatically. Angle 35 degrees, Brooks said. Dump the last fuel into the belly thrusters. The ship hit the atmosphere thick layer. The rear exploded in fire. G-forces pressed them forward. Pike screamed something about the reactor going. Brooks barely heard him. His hands stayed on the controls, forcing the nose up, fighting the drop. The sky turned to flame. Metal screamed. Then, suddenly, the shaking stopped. The Vanguard struck the surface. The sound was a single, violent crack. Dust and smoke filled what was left of the bridge. For a long moment, there was no movement. Then Pike coughed and rolled over. Half the ceiling was gone, melted through. Brooks lay next to the shattered console, blood streaking his face, eyes open but faint. Pike crawled over. Captain, we made it. Brooks lifted his head slowly, breathing hard. Outside the torn hole, firelight glowed across dry plains. Far in the distance, something dark moved shapes that didn't belong to the Directorate or the Rebellion. Pike followed his gaze. Sir, what is that? Brooks didn't answer. He forced himself upright, looking at the shadows coming closer through the heat haze. They were human silhouettes, but their armor carried no markings. He whispered, almost to himself, looks like someone else was waiting for the war to end. The shapes spread into a line across the ash horizon. Advancing through the firelight,